Howdy, ladies and gentlemen. So this is our third attempt doing this. We've been having technical difficulties, and I'm supposed to be on bed rest right now with the stomach flu. So if it looks like I'm sweating profusely, it's not nerves. It's just I don't feel very well. So we're going to try this the last time, and if not, we'll pick it up tomorrow. I had a quick intro, and I'm going to try to get through it very quickly since we've already done this 2 other times. My name is Dr. John Belkowitz. I'm the Director of R&D at Intelligent Concrete. We're good to go.
Yep, and we've got Haley and somebody else on.
Hey, thanks, Haley, for checking in on us. You're awesome. I work with an amazing team at Intelligent Concrete. I've been working with concrete for years, and I have multiple degrees under my belt, whether a PhD in mechanical engineering, engineering degrees, civil engineering degrees from my baccalaureate, master's in material sciences, as well as other degrees. I've been a professor at university in reinforced concrete design, as well as a high school teacher teaching physics, mathematics, and biology. So suffice to say, I have a true passion for mathematics, and I have a true love for mathematics. And I've made a living out of unlocking the mysteries of the molecular kinetics of cement hydration to save the world with all the concrete in it by making concrete stronger and last longer. And tonight, I'm excited to do the same thing for you, to unlock the mysteries of Common Core math, so you can be empowered to be that superhero during these e-learning and homeschooling times. And Common Core math, as a lot of folks, especially our age, have pointed out, is a pain in the butt. So our goal tonight is to empower you. And tonight we're going to run through what seems like 2 very, very basic math problems, but when you look at them in Common Core math, it's like ancient Aramaic. And what we're going to do tonight is unravel that mystery for you. But first and foremost, I've got to answer the question, WTF Batman? Why in the good Lord's name are we doing Common Core math? And I'm excited to teach you why. Now, the impetus behind Common Core, and I'm reading this from a definition that I wrote, is to give our children a common method to understand complex mathematical concepts. Now, from the basics all the way up to the advanced engineering mathematics, all math relies on understanding the foundation. And without a proper foundation, just like you would build a house, your structure, everything else that you build upon, is going to be unsteady. There's going to be a lack of confidence, and oftentimes there are going to be things that you need to repair along the way, or the worst case scenario, ultimate failure. And with mathematics, and most people, it's just giving up on math entirely, blaming it on their teacher, saying, hey, I'm never going to use math in the future. I mean, gosh, it really hurt me that I never remembered those polynomials or that linear algebra that I learned in high school or college. And the fact remains is, especially times like today, knowing that math, knowing that logic, and understanding the data sets that come from those truncation of that logic is so important to us. Now, let me give you a quick analogy. I had just finished up the United States Air Force Academy, a civil engineering degree. I was working for a civil engineering company designing or doing structural engineering for custom homes in the great state of Colorado. And I remember my mentor at the time, who was my sponsor at the Air Force Academy, told me, hey, John, you're not a great engineer. You need to go back to school. And I'll be more than happy to help you get through school, give you the time while keeping your job. And Mr. B, if you're watching, Mama B, if you're watching, thank you so much for your patience. And when I did go back to school, remember, I went to the Air Force Academy. For my second degree, I went to Colorado School of Mines. And I remember that first semester, man, I took one of the classes I was taking was thermodynamics, and I killed thermodynamics at the academy. And I didn't go to class. First 3 weeks, first 4 weeks, I didn't go to class. I'm like, what do I need to go to class? I just got out of the Air Force Academy. I didn't know what I was doing. And I finally went to class on my first exam. And, you know, when you're at the Air Force Academy, every science, technology, engineering, and math class that they give you that I took, especially back in the day, I don't know how it is today, they give you this 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper with all the equations that you'll ever need for that class. And they even tell you, the professors will tell you, bring this equation sheet for every class that you're taking. All you need to do is plug and chug. We don't do derivations here. So fast forward to Colorado School of Mines. I go in for my first exam with thermodynamics, and my professor was Professor Terry Parker. And if Professor Parker, if you're watching this, thank you for changing my life. So I walk up to Professor Parker 2 minutes before the exam started, and I said, "Hey, Professor Parker, I need that equation sheet." And Professor Parker looks at me with a puzzled look, and he said, "Equation sheet? What are you talking about, man?" I said, "You know that 8.5 by 11 with all the equations on it, all I need to do is plug and chug." And Professor Parker goes, "Oh, the equation sheet. Sure, I got that for you." So he grabs this 8.5 by 11 blank piece of paper and said, "Here's your equation sheet. Go take the frickin' exam." And it was like all the blood dropped out of my face, out of my body. All of a sudden I realized I had no clue what was going on. And that right there was the turning point for me. I had to withdraw from that class. I absolutely bombed that exam, and I had to take thermodynamics again with Professor Parker, and I absolutely killed it and crushed it. And I learned the importance of deriving formulas and understanding the logic behind these mathematical equations. Now, the bigger question is, why should we give a shit about these mathematical equations? I've got a lot of friends who'll say to me, or a lot of posts that'll say, or memes, that's what you call them. It's a good thing I remembered that linear algebra and all those polynomials from high school and college to go buy groceries from the store. And granted, you might not use polynomials or linear algebra. Maybe you won't even use Fourier transform when you're going to get groceries. But the idea behind mathematics is that these mathematical formulas, these algorithms, they're used to represent the physical phenomena that we see in the world. And whether or not you're talking about the economics of the world, the growth rate of plants, the thickness of soil that you have to use for your foundation so you have frost protection, or even in some scenarios, the spreading of viruses, if you're just looking at charts and graphs, but you don't really understand how the data sets were derived and the algorithms that you used, you're basically looking at meaningless data. And that meaningless data can swing the other way, where it can become something that turns you fearful, when the data might not have any meaning to it whatsoever if you truly understood the mathematics behind it. So again, we're not here to talk about the evolution of viruses and the algorithms that detect them. We're here to talk about Common Core math. Oh, I just threw away my Common Core math page. So, let's throw away the other page. The impetus of all of this is teaching your child Common Core math helps us develop that early foundation of deriving where we came up with our answers. So, let's just dive right into this. Is that okay, Whit? All right. Hopefully that's okay with anybody. If y'all have any questions, start asking them, and we'll hit them as we get some time. Can you see me? Am I good to go? I wanted to use blue. Let me use blue here. Like I said, we've done this. This is our third time doing this. And we'll have better production values on the next set, but here we go. So the first mathematical equation we have is 32 minus 12. And I think before I can even say what the answer is, everybody's already figured it out. 32 minus 12, 2 minus 2 equals 0. 3 minus 1 is 20, and Bob's your uncle. We're done. This is the old, tried and true method that we started using either in the 50s, which I believe was called the borrowing and replacing method, and later on we had the regrouping method, but now we have the Common Core math method. And again, not only do I want you to understand how I get through the Common Core, I want you to be comfortable as to why you need to teach your children this. Okay, so let's dive into Common Core. I used red. Is that what I used? Okay, red. Whitney's getting sick too.
Fine.
So 32 minus 12, and by the way, if you couldn't tell, I'm not wearing a full suit. I'm actually wearing some PJs here.
Yeah, you can't really see on the
Can't really see. I'm supposed to be on bed rest. That's why we're doing this in the basement. But again, we're trying to get this out to you so you can become the superhero and help your kids during these e-learning and homeschooling sessions. Okay, so with Common Core, the ultimate objective is to illustrate the derivation behind that final answer. So what we're going to start with is 12. We want to keep adding to 12 until we get to 32. And I know that might sound crazy, but bear with me for a moment or two. So we start with 12, and in Common Core, what we love to do is get as close to 5s and 10s as quickly and as easily as we possibly can. So for me to get this to a 5, I'll need to add a 3 to it, because 12 plus 3 equals, help me out, Whitney?
15.
Not only is she pretty, but she's smart. She's pretty smart. Now, remember, I've got to get back to this 32. So to get from 15 to another, either 5 or 10, I'm going to go for a 10. 15 plus 5 equals, help me out?
20.
20. I'm not done yet, because I still need to get to my 32. So if I take my 20 plus 10 equals 30, am I done? I've got some change left over. 30 plus 2 equals 32. Are we done yet, Whitney?
No.
No, we have one final step, and this is where a lot of you are shaking your heads. And I get it. But save the head shaking until we get done, because we've got one more step. What you're going to do right now, oh, I think this is dead. Oh, yeah. What you're going to do right now is add all these numbers together. So 3 plus 5 equals 8. 8 plus 10 is 18. 18 plus 2 equals
20.
And look at that. We ended up with the same answer. And this is where you're allowed to shake your head. So everybody, let's, as a team together, take a deep breath. Why did we have to do that, John? We went from what seemed like one step to what seems like 6 to 8 steps. Why is that necessary? And what you don't understand is that to do this one step, everything that's going on in your head, we've written out right here. What we did when we were kids, we were forced to do all these algorithms in our head. Now, for me as a kid, and my family will tell you, I wasn't the best in elementary school. When we had these time trials of big 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper with 50 or 30 or 20 problems on them, and you got to get 15 minutes to get all these addition and subtraction and division problems done in this 15 and 30 minutes, and you're doing a lot of this logic in your head with Common Core. Instead of having the kids do that in their head, which sometimes you can get mixed up, we're illustrating the derivation to get to that answer. We're deriving the steps to show them so that if they need to explain, hey, this is where I got my answer from, it's already listed. Now, for all my civil, mechanical, electrical, environmental engineers out there, we know this. This is something that we have to do when we have to answer, It's only worth 1 or 2 points. How we got there, and for us, our 32 minus 12, this is our final answer, but this is how we got there. By using this method, yes, I know you could do it in your head. I know we could do the quick math, but again, a lot of the logic is happening up here. And the unfortunate reality, when a student goes back to solidify that education, to solidify what they've learned, looking at this, they're not going to retain as much of that skill set, that problem-solving skill set, compared to using the Common Core method. But let's not stop there. Let's do one more problem. And this problem probably shouldn't have gotten me something to wipe this off. Let's go ahead. I'm using my suit, babe. Sorry. Sorry about that. Whitney is not getting mad at me. She's being very understanding because she loves me so much. Okay. So the first problem is very, very easy. The second problem, hey, it's not that bad, but it's going to require to do a little bit more mathematics. So our second problem is 50 minus 19. Now, still an easy problem, but a little bit more difficult. We've got to use the borrow method here, right? So I can't do 0 minus 9. I've got to take 1 away from my 5, so I have a 10. 10 minus 9 equals 1. Now 4 minus 1 equals 3. My final answer is 31. Remember, this is the old method. Now again, most folks don't do this. Most I do it in my head. 10, 9, 1, 4, 3, 1, 31 is the answer. Now let's do it in the Common Core method. And again, you're not allowed to shake your head until we get to the final answer. You do this in red?
Yep.
Okay. So, 50 minus 19 equals question mark. Remember, I'm going to start with my 19. Common Core, we love those 5s and 10s. I've got to get back to 50. So 19 plus 6 equals 25. And let's take the long route. 25 plus 5 equals 30. And like I said, we're taking the long route. I bring my 30 down. Plus 10 equals 40. And I wanted to do this to get one more step in there, because I could have just added 20. I wanted to do one more step because I wanted you to have a reason to shake your head. 40 plus 10 equals, everybody say it with me?
50.
Good job. Are we done yet, Whit?
Nope.
No. So, what are we going to do? Our last step. We've got to add these up. Now, we could do this the Common Core method, but we're just focusing on this for today. 6 plus 5 is 11. 11 plus 10 is 21. 21 plus 10 is
31.
31. And you know what? Isn't it awesome that we achieved the same answer as the old method? And again, now let's all take that deep breath and shake our heads. Why did we do this? Whoever taught you that mathematics was supposed to be a race, that mathematics was supposed to be a sprint, was the person who taught you wrong. Mathematics is supposed to be a derivation of logic, using algorithms to identify the physical phenomena or represent the physical phenomena that we see in the world. And you could be doing that, trying to identify how well a sprinter is increasing speed with a certain workout over time. But that being said, all those algorithms, all that heavier logic that we need, especially as engineers, as accountants, as doctors, all those things that we use to represent the physical world, we have to use more and more difficult mathematics to get a better understanding or a better tool to predict either what's going to happen with somebody who's training to sprint faster, or possibly a virus that is spreading? Does a drug work? Is it having a positive effect, a negative effect? Is there an increasing or decreasing gradient? Now, this might seem mundane, and John, my kid can save so much time by doing it the way that I learned how to do it. You're right. I won't argue with that. But it's not about saving time. It's about developing the skill set, that foundation for your child to build upon. And by using this Concord, what's it called? Common Core? By using this Common Core method, we're doing just that. We're developing the skill set that helps them identify how they derived that final answer. By doing it this way, it's very difficult for us to illustrate, whether it's us or our students, our children, to illustrate how we got to our final answer. And that's the whole point of this. It's not how quickly we can get to the answer, it's how good our skill set is that allowed us to get us to that answer. I felt like I said the word us about 40 times in that sentence. So, the ultimate purpose of all of this is to give our kids a problem-solving skill set that they can start building on. Because if you're not confident in the basics, deriving the basics and using the basics, then once we start getting up to the higher level maths, whether it's in junior high school, community college, undergraduate, graduate, postgraduate, or even outside of what they're currently doing. And I'll tell you something, I used to be a laborer. And, we used to have to look at an open area and say, okay, I got a 30-foot by 30-foot area that's 6 inches thick. I got some divots here and there. How much concrete do I need to have? And, oh, by the way, I got 4 more slabs that need that too. And, one of the slabs were just canceled. I need to call up and break down one of the trucks. Now, if I'm using this method that's all up in my head, there's a chance I might lose some numbers, forget some numbers. By deriving the formulas and actually using that skill set, that information won't be lost, and I can track where that information came from and where I ended up. So hopefully this helps you out. Do we have any questions?
I don't think so.
No questions. Okay. Well, let us know if you got any questions, any concerns. We're going to be doing this throughout the week. We got a lot more fun problems for you. Some that are going to be just like this, and a lot more advanced science, technology, engineering, and math. We're really excited to share this information. Thanks for your time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Ding that bell for notifications. Go Concrete!